Am I audible properly? Na? Right. Okay. Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. 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 So the course code is C351U, and the name of the course is Advanced Theory of Structures. Okay. The teaching scheme includes three theory lectures, each of 3 hours. Okay. This particular subject does not have practicals. Okay, and the total marks for this particular subject are 100. Okay, out of this 30 marks are for MSc, 10 marks are for ISA, and 60 marks are there for the ESE. Okay, and in syllabus, if we see the syllabus includes basic concepts of structural analysis. This includes whatever you have studied till date, that is in strength of materials or basic theory of structures, engineering mechanics. These parts are elaborated here in this particular portion. Okay, most of the times very only theory questions will be asked on this particular portion of basic concepts of structural analysis. Okay, then we have the slope deflection method. Okay, this is one of the method which is used for analysis of portal frames and your continuous beams. Then we have moment distribution method. Then we have Kani's method or Kani's moment distribution method. This method is newly introduced in this syllabus. Okay, this was not there in the old syllabus or old curriculum. Then we have fundamental concepts of flexibility matrix method. This is one of the method of structural analysis, and we have only problems up to 3 unknowns. Okay, we should note that only up to 3 unknowns. If there is any problem more than 3 unknowns is there, it will be considered as out of syllabus. Then we have the last portion is fundamental concepts of stiffness. Okay, or it is also called as stiffness matrix method. Okay, so these two methods, flexibility matrix method and stiffness matrix method, these two are the methods of structural analysis, whereas remaining methods are regular methods. Okay, whereas if we see this flexibility matrix method and stiffness matrix method, these two methods are mostly used nowadays. Okay, these methods are generally used for developing your softwares for analysis and design purpose. Okay, so this is what we have in the syllabus. Okay, we'll start with this basic concepts of structure analysis today. Okay, so this is what the our course is, that is course code and other things are given. Okay, so what is engineering? I think you are in third year of civil engineering, and you should know what is engineering. So even engineering is the use of scientific principles to design and build machines, structure and other items, including bridges, tunnels, roads, vehicles and buildings. Okay, this is what the engineering is. Okay, there is a difference between engineering and science. Okay, engineering is basically use of science for developing something. Okay, okay, the engineering is further divided into number of branches. Okay, such as we have civil engineering branch is there, then we have mechanical engineering, instrumentation engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, and many aeronautical engineering. Lots of branches of civil engineering, engineering are available. Okay, so who is an engineer? Okay, you should know this. Who is an engineer? A person skilled or occupied in some branch of engineering is considered as a engineer. So for becoming an engineer, you should have some degree in some branch, at least some branch of engineering. And then next, most important structure point, what is civil engineering? Okay, civil engineering is the branch which deals with the design construction of highways, bridges, buildings, tunnels, waterworks, gutters, roads, walkways, paver block works, compound walls, etc. Okay, so this particular branch involves design, construction and operation of civil engineering structures or projects. Okay, so this particular civil engineering branch it is further divided into number of sub branches or sub parts. For example, we have environmental engineering. Okay, this particularly deals with the your sewage work or water supply schemes. These are covered under this environmental engineering. Then we have transportation engineering. In transportation engineering, we are mostly dealing with the road works or other types of traffic works. Okay, then we have water resources engineering. This particular branch of or sub branch of civil engineering, this deals with the uh, rainwater collection, then how to utilize that water in the irrigation, etc. Then we have surveying and remote sensing. Actually, it should be surveying only, because remote sensing is one of the part of surveying itself. Okay, in surveying, what we'll be doing, in surveying we'll be determining the elevation, location of points, etc. And based on that, we'll be preparing different types of maps, okay, which will be used for the construction purpose. Okay, then we have construction engineering. This is the basic branch which involves the construction procedure and other things. Then we have next sub branch of civil engineering is your structural engineering. So structural engineering involves determination of whatever different types of forces or different bending moments, shear forces, then torsional moments, compressive forces, tensional forces developing in a structure or a member of a structure due to application of external load or due to self-weight of that particular structure. Okay, that is covered under this structural engineering part. Then we have geotechnical engineering. It basically involves the determination of soil properties, foundation, effect of different conditions on foundation, etc. Okay, so these are some sub branches of civil engineering. Okay, I am just taking a review what you should have known up to this point. Okay, then the same point is in terms of different subjects. Now this civil engineering is further divided into some sub parts depending upon the subjects. In basic civil engineering, we have surveying is there. Okay, then we have building planning subject is there, fluid mechanics, environmental engineering, geotechnical engineering, water resources engineering, estimating, costing, and lots of subjects are there. There is also geology and etc. Whereas the another part of this civil engineering branch, that is called as structural engineering or applied mechanics branch. Okay, in some of the colleges there the civil engineering department is actually divided into two branches, that is civil engineering branch, and another branch will be applied mechanics branch. Another branch will be applied mechanics branch. Okay, so yeah. Now what is a structure? Okay, now structure is an assembly of beams, columns, strut, cable, and arches. Okay, so structure is basically assembly of different members such as beam, column, struts. Why we are assembling these beams, columns, and strut? Because okay, if we consider some house is there. Okay, some this type of house is there. Okay, this is the foundation and we are taking only one frame. Okay, now there will be some slab will be there here. Okay, this is our structure. Okay, there will be some slab will be there. Okay, some load will be there on the slab. That load will be transferred to these beams. Okay, the load from the slabs will be transferred to the beams, and the load from these beams will be now transferred to the columns. Okay, then this column will transfer the load to the foundation, and then from the foundation the load will be transferred to the soil below foundation. Okay, so this is how the load mechanism is developed, load transfer mechanism is developed in some structural system. Therefore we are considering a structure as an assembly or of different members such as beams, columns, and struts. Okay, okay, you can see here different types of columns and beams are shown here. Here we can see some column is shown. Okay, here you can see one column is here, then we have lots of beams like this. Okay, Now these types of struts, these are provided to resist the lateral loading which are acting on your structure. Which type of lateral loading will be there? Lateral loading means some earthquake forces or wind forces which will be acting perpendicular to the your structural system. Okay. So these struts are provided for resisting the lateral loads acting on your structure. Okay. So this is called as structural system. Okay, now whenever you will be constructing some structure, different people are involved in a design purpose. Architect will be there some design engineer or structural engineer will be there, then we will be having some construction engineer will be there. Okay, so whenever we will be planning to construct some structure, हम क्या करेंगे कि फर्स्ट ऐसे तो नहीं होगा कि हर आदमी हर किसी को स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियरिंग का पूरा नॉलेज होगा. जो कोई भी क्लाइंट होगा उसको स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियरिंग या फिर आर्किटेक्ट इसका नॉलेज होगा. सो व्हाट विल अ क्लाइंट इज अ पर्सन हु विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू कंस्ट्रक्ट सम प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, लेट अस कंसीडर वी आर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग सम 10-story structure. We are constructing some 10-story structure, and the client, the owner of this particular structure, he wants to get this particular work done. So what he will do, this particular client, he will approach to some architectural engineer. And what this architectural engineer or architect, sorry, it is not architectural engineer, it is only an architect. Okay, so what this architect will do, he will prepare the architectural foundation, functional plans. Okay, so he will prepare the architectural view of your structure. He will decide where you should have columns, you should not have columns, what should be the height of your story, what should be the depth, up to what depth you should go for the construction purpose, etc. Okay, then what the next thing will be, he will provide some plans or architectural plans. These architectural plans, this will be sent to some structural designer. Okay, okay, these architectural plans will be sent to the structural designer. What the structural designer will do, he will first decide the location of columns, location of beams. Okay, okay, then he will take some trial sections. Let us consider he will be taking 300 by 300 mm size of column. He will be taking 230 mm by 300 mm size of beam. Then what will do, he will model that particular beam column for the required architectural plan in some software. A lot of softwares are available for design and analysis purpose. For example, we have STAAD.Pro, okay, we have STAAD.Pro, then we have ETABS, then we have SAFE. Okay, lots of softwares are there. Struts is there, a lot of softwares are there for design and analysis purpose. So after modeling, what he will be doing, the structural engineer will perform the analysis, and he will provide the whatever loading is acting on that particular structure, and then he will go for the analysis. Okay, so after analysis, what he will get some bending moments which are developed due to the loads acting on the structure. Then he will get some shear forces, he will get some torsional moments will be there, he will get deflection in the building or some structural system. Okay, so for these bending moments, shear forces, torsional moments, and other forces whichever acting on your structure, what we'll be doing, for these forces we'll be designing that particular column and beam. Okay, now we know that we previously provided a column size of 300 by 300 mm, but if for the given or developed bending moment or shear forces, this particular column size or beam size we provided, that was 230 by 300 mm, if it is not sufficient, or if this column size or beam sizes are failing, what he will do, that particular structural designer, he will revise that particular section. Okay, so what this particular structural designer will do, he will go for revision if this particular column dimensions are filling. But if this particular column dimension which we have provided previously, if those are passed in that for that particular loading condition, then he will go for connection design. Then detailing. What is this detailing part? Detailing part means how the steel reinforcement are arranged in your columns and beam, that is called as detailing. Okay, means how many what should be the diameter of bar, what should be the diameter of bar, what should be the minimum number of bars should be required to be provided in some columns or beams where the lapping of steel reinforcement should be done. Let us consider this is our, if this is of our column, then there will be lapping, sorry, okay, let us consider this is our beam is there. Okay, the steel reinforcement are available in the sizes of 12 meter maximum, so we need to cut the steel reinforcement. Okay, if this particular beam is more than 12 meter, then what we'll have to do, we have to provide some lapping of steel reinforcement like this. Some one reinforcement will be there and we'll be tying these two steel reinforcement. Okay, however we'll be providing the steel reinforcement, that complete procedure is considered as a detailing procedure. And then final design drawings are prepared. These final design drawings are sent to field. These are sent to field or your site where the actual construction work is started. Okay, or site where the actual construction work is started. Okay, so now as the name of this particular subject is advanced structural analysis, so you should know what is structural analysis. Okay, so structural analysis is the determination of effect of loads on the physical structure as a whole and its components. Okay, so basically structural analysis is the determination of effect of loads. Means what will be the effect of loads due to application of loads. Let us consider we are having some frame like this. Okay, this is some frame is there. Let us consider we have some frame like this. Okay, some column will be here like this. So on this particular slab there will be some load will be acting. Let us consider this load is 3 kilonewton per meter square. Let us consider the load on this particular slab will be 3 kilonewton per meter square. So the load from this particular slab, this will be transferred to these particular beams, right? This will be transferred to this particular beam, and load from this beam will be transferred to the column. Load from this beam will be transferred to the column itself. Okay, so due to this particular load, what will happen? There will be some bending moment. There will be some bending moment will be developed. Some shear forces will be developed. Then some torsional moments will be developed in these columns and beams, and this is the effect of load on the structure. Okay, so that is what we are determining in this particular subject of advanced structural analysis. Okay, so which are the different structural components in a structure? Structural components in a structure? So this is the plan of some building. Let us consider some building is there. This is the plan. Okay, and this is the elevation. So in plan you can see here we will have some slab. Here we will have some slab. Okay, here we will have some slab will be there. Then we will be having some columns which are shown here. Then we will be having some beams will be there. Then we will have floor means itself a slab. Okay, then we will have some foundation which is shown here. Okay, so basic use of these structural components is this particular slab, this will be providing the platform for the occupants of your structure. Okay, it will be providing the platform for the occupants of your structure. Okay, whoever is occupying this particular structure, so this slab, at this particular level there will be slab, here will have slab, here will have slab, and here will be having slab. So it will provide platform for the structure, or for the occupants of your structure, whereas the load from this slab will be transferred to these beams like this. Let us consider the load from slab will be transferred as a uniformly distributed load. Okay, then this load will be transferred to the column, and then from the column the load will be transferred to the foundation, and from the foundation the load will be transferred to the soil below. It will be transferred to the soil below the foundation. Okay, so this is how the structure will behave. Now you can see what will be having between these columns and beams. Will be having some brickwork will be there. Okay, like this will be having some brickwork will be there. Okay, now for RCC structure, this brickwork, okay, this brickwork, this does not come into or does not take any forces in RCC structure. If it is a frame structure, this brickwork does not take any structural load. It is only acting as a partition or for protection for the outer wall. So brick does not help in resisting the structural loads. Okay, but if the structure is a load bearing structure, then this particular brickwork will also be taking part in resisting the forces acting on your structure. Okay, so one thing we should know, that the bricks in frame structure does not take part in resisting the lateral loads. Okay, does not take part in resisting any type of load in RCC frame structure only. Okay, now history of your structural engineering. Okay, the history of your structural engineering or structural analysis starts from 2700 BC, when the first pyramid was built by Imhotep. Okay, this is from the reference of your Wikipedia. Okay, so the first structural system whichever was designed and constructed was your pyramid, which was constructed by the Imhotep. Okay, now we know that why structural analysis is required, because the basic purpose of this particular structural analysis is, first point is safety and reliability, and second point is economy. How safety and reliability? Now if we are constructing some structure by if some mason is there and he is constructing some structure, okay, जनरली क्या होता है कि अगर कोई लोकल या फिर विलेजेस में कैसे होता है कि मैसन जनरली जो जिसका भी कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम होता है वो क्या करता है कि किसी मेसन को पकड़ता है या फिर रेगुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को पकड़ता है जिसके पास इंजीनियरिंग की डिग्री नहीं होती है, या कोई ऐसा कोई ये नहीं होता है कि उसने कंस्ट्रक्शन करना चाहिए, लेकिन वो उसको पकड़ता है एंड देन ही विल गो फॉर construction. So what may happen if we don't go for structural analysis? What may happen if the sizes of structural members are less than required? What will happen? There may be possibility of failure of your structure. Okay, at the same time, if the size of your beams and column, let us consider size of beam and column was required 300 by 300 mm and beam was required 230 by 300 mm, but if structure analysis is not done and if we provide a column size of 500 by 500 mm for a particular structure and beam size of again 500 by 230 mm, okay, what will happen? This will become excessive cost will be required for constructing higher sizes of structural members, and hence economy cannot be achieved. Therefore what we will be doing, we will first calculate whatever the forces are developing in your structure, that is bending moment, shear forces, etc., and then based on these forces what will be determining the sizes of beams and column, sizes of beams and columns will be decided, then size of foundation, etc., will be decided based on whatever forces are developing, and hence in turn what we'll be doing, will be achieving the economy at the same time with safety and reliability. Okay, with safety and reliability. सो आज तक हमने क्या पढ़ा है? ओके, जनरली व्हाट we see, we come across a lots of structure during our day to day life. Okay, from simple structures such as our poles are there to some complex or multi-story structures such as multi-story buildings or complex structures such as bridges, dams, etc. Okay, these structural systems are generally subjected to different types of loadings. Okay, the different types of loadings that are, for example, we have point load is there, we have uniformly distributed load, we have uniformly varying load, random loads, dynamic loads, earthquake loads, snow load, what hydrostatic loads. A lot of types of loads are acting on your structure, and these particular loads are transferred from your slab to beam, beam to column, column to foundation. Now in your this particular subject of engineering mechanics, in this particular subject of engineering mechanics, what you have particularly studied is to determining the reaction developing in you at the base of your beams. Okay, the beam reaction or support reaction calculation that was covered in your engineering mechanics, whereas also determination of bending moment and shear forces, determination of bending moment and shear forces for simple beams was covered under this subject of engineering mechanics. Then you have studied the next subject, that is strength of materials. Okay, strength of materials. In strength of materials you have studied the stress, strain, then bending moment and shear force calculation. Okay, stress, strain, bending moment and shear force calculation. Okay, so stress and strain. So what is happening? Let us consider concrete some concrete beam is there. Okay, and we are applying some compressive force on this particular beam. What will happen? There will be compressive stresses will be developed, axial compressive stresses will be developed. Why? Because this particular compressive force is acting on this particular beam along the axis, therefore axial compressive forces will be developed in this particular beam. Okay, at the same time there will be some reduction in the length of this particular beam will be there, and therefore strain will be developed in your beam. Okay, now let us consider this particular beam is subjected to some transverse loading. Okay, it is resting on some column. Let us consider it is resting on some column like this. Okay, it is resting on some column and it is subjected to some point load in transverse direction. Transverse direction is vertically downward direction. Okay, what will happen? This particular beam, it was the original position of your beam. Due to application of transverse load, what will happen? It will deflect like this. Okay, this is exaggerated diagram. Actual deflection will be very small. Okay, this will deflect like this. So why deflection is taking place? Because of application of some transverse loading. The deflection is the reaction developed by your structure. Okay, due to this particular force, what will happen? Some bending moment will be developed, and some shear force will be developed. So bending moment will be like this. Okay, bending moment developed will be like this, and shear forces developed will be like this. Okay, this is your bending moment diagram for this particular loading condition. This will be shear force diagram. Okay, so due to this bending moment which is developed in your structure, what will happen? Your structural member or this particular beam will try to resist this bending moment, and due to resistance from this beam for these forces which are acting on your beam, bending stresses will be developed in your beam. So bending stresses are developed due to the action of these lateral forces acting on your beam. Okay, then at the same time shear stresses will be developed due to development of shear forces in your beam. Shear stresses will be developed. Okay, at the same time, so these two parts are already covered in your strength of material. Then we have covered this direct and bending stresses and torsion. Okay, so this is what we have covered under this subject of strength of materials. Then next subject you have studied was basic theory of structure or BTS. Okay, in basic theory of structure, what you have studied, you have studied to calculate the slope and deflection. You have studied to calculate the slope and deflection of beams by using different methods such as moment distribution method is there, conjugate beam method is there, Castigliano's methods are there. Okay, so why we were determining this particular slope and deflection? Because let us consider you are living in some structure. If you are living in some structure, let us consider you are living in some this type of house is there. Okay, and due to external loads, okay, whatever external loads are there, okay, due to this, let us consider this beam is deflected by 300 mm, or let us consider this particular beam is deflected by 100 mm. Okay, will it be does the occupant of this particular structure, let us consider this particular deflection here was 100 mm, this was 100 mm, so will the occupant of your structure will be considering their self safe under the living under this type of roof? No, because you will be you can see that particular deflection by naked eyes, and therefore it will not be the mentality of your occupant will be affected by the deflection. At the same time, if this particular deflection is more than whatever deflection permitted as per IS code, there may be chances of failure of your structure. Therefore, we should know how much is the deflection or story drift in your structure. Okay, so that is calculated by using these three methods, and we have already studied this particular three methods under the topic subject of this basic theory of structures. Then we have studied the analysis of fixed and continuous beams. We have studied the analysis of fixed and continuous beams. Okay, so what is a fixed beam and what is a continuous beam? Okay, then next we have studied the analysis of two hinged arches and three hinged arches. Okay, generally not more than 1% engineer will require this to use the knowledge of two hinged arches and three hinged arches. Okay, and then we have studied the influence line diagrams. Okay, these diagrams or influence line diagram chapter, this is useful for construction of bridges or structures where some varying loads or load will be changing, okay, with respect to the time. Then this influence line diagram will be used. Then in this particular subject of basic theory of structure, we have studied, okay, this much was the part we have studied in the basic theory of structure. Then now we know that if some beam is there, let us consider some beam is there and it is supported on some support. Okay, and if it is subjected to some load, what will happen? It will deflect like this. Okay, the deflection will not be this much, but it is an exaggerated diagram. Okay, it will deflect like this, and this will be the total deflection here. So whatever shape taken by this particular beam after deformation, it is called as elastic curve. This particular curve which is developed after the deformation is called as elastic curve. Okay, we'll see one video on this particular elastic curve. Okay, one small video is there.
What is an elastic curve? To understand elastic curve, let us take an example of a shaft of a belt drive system. The shaft can be assumed as a simply supported beam. Initially, the beam will not experience any load. But due to some tension in the belt, there will be some loads acting on the beam. Let's say these loads are W1, W2 and W3. Now because of these loads, the beam will deflect from its original position, changing the straight central axis to a curved line. This curved line is known as an elastic curve. Thus, when a beam is loaded, its central axis becomes a curved line. This curved line is known as an elastic curve. Related terms are the equation of an elastic curve and the methods to calculate deflection. Question. Remember keywords. Related terms are remember
Okay, so this is what we called as elastic curve. Okay, then I think most of this part is already covered in your previous syllabus, but I'll be only repeating this, okay, so that you will get recalled. Okay, then we have what is a slope. Okay, so slope at any section of a beam is defined as the angle in radian which the tangent at corresponding point makes with the original axis of the beam. Okay, let us consider we have some beam is there and it is subjected to some loading like this. Okay, sorry. Okay, let us consider some beam is there. Okay, let us consider some beam is there. Just a minute. Yeah, let us consider some okay, so a slope. Okay, what is a slope? Okay, slope is the section in a deflection beam is defined as the angle in radian which the tangent at corresponding points makes with the axis of a beam. Let us consider we have some beam like this. Okay, and this particular beam, it is subjected to some loading. Okay, what will happen due to this particular loading? This is a cantilever beam, and due to this particular loading, what will happen? This particular beam, this will be deflecting like this. This will be deflecting like this. Okay,